Yeah. You gotta work. You gotta work, grind, shine, it's mine. Gotta show everybody it's my time. Getting here, you gotta work, grind, shine. Never mind who talking down, cause they lying. Don't talk, you gotta work.
Let the conversation begin. This is Let's Talk with your host, Carl Lee.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Lee, and I'm here with Let's Talk. And I got a great guest here today, and it's just me and him. One of the interesting components that this week, talking about the show, has been injuries. And there's a story on Facebook about a young lady who's playing school basketball and had an injury. I think it was a knee.
Yes.
And she ended up leaving to go practice for a travel basketball team. She was already injured, but she ended up going and then ended up ending her career with a career-ending injury in practice. And I start the show off with that because sometimes I think where we miss the concept of sports is more is better, and so Jay, go ahead and introduce yourself real quick, because what I want to say after this, I want people to know who I'm talking to, okay. And why because I can get my knowledge from you today.
Okay. My name is Jay Canterbury. I teach full-time at West Virginia State University in the Health and Human Performance Department, and I'm a practicing athletic trainer and have been practicing for about 30 years. I've been at all kinds of levels. I've been in middle school, been in youth, been in high school, been in D1, D2, NAIA. So I have the full gamut from the young ones to the old one. I'm also the athletic trainer for the West Virginia Grind professional basketball team. So here I am. I'm also working professional basketball. So I spent most of my time over as an assistant athletic trainer at West Virginia State University. That's where I've been over there between athletic training and teaching. This is finishing up my 19th year at West Virginia State University. My second job is I'm the athletic trainer at South Charleston High School. I bid on the contract for the athletic training services through Kanawha County, and I won the bid, so I have the contract that I go up and cover the football and the homeboys and girls basketball. But I've covered every sport for the most part: lacrosse, soccers, basketballs. I've never had the privilege of doing hockey. So that's one sport I haven't done, but I've done pretty much all of the sports, some sort of coverage for all of the sports.
Well, help me with this. What does it require? What is the work that is required to become a trainer? The first step, if that's something that you're interested in, obviously it's a school. You've got to go to school, obviously, for that. But once you're out of school, you have your degree, and now you want to, all of a sudden, you want to decide you want to get into athletic training. What is the process that requires? Well,
the first thing that they have to do is they have to obtain a bachelor's degree in something related to healthcare. That used to be, this is where I'm getting old, I went through the 4-year program at University of Charleston. I only had to have a bachelor's degree to sit for what's called the NATA BOC exam to become a certified athletic trainer. That stands for National Athletic Trainers Association Board of Certification. So to be a certified athletic trainer, I had to graduate from a nationally accredited 4-year program, and then I had to successfully pass the NATA BOC test. Well, they changed this. The accreditation now, you have to have obtained a master's in athletic training to sit for the exam to be a certified athletic trainer. That just started, I believe, if memory serves me right, that started in the fall of 2022. So everybody that had an undergraduate program, they had to be graduated before the fall of 2022 so they could sit for the exam. Anybody that was left over, they were not going to be able to sit for the exam. So now you have to apply for a national accredited master's program for athletic training, successfully obtain your master's degree in athletic training, and then you have to successfully pass the portions of the NATA test, NATA BOC test, be nationally certified. So they've upped the ante to some degree in terms of, and I'm not here to plug anybody's undergraduate, but for example, a lot of the students that come through our department, they are called sports studies majors. So what they can do is they can get their bachelor's degree in sports studies, and then there's requirements to apply for the graduate program at Marshall or wherever, a nationally accredited program. And then they could take those requirements in the 4 years there. Then once they obtain their 4-year degree, bachelor's degree, then they can apply for the master's program at Marshall or Wheeling or WVU or whatever the case may be. But you have to obtain the bachelor's degree. There is no more bachelor's degree in athletic training. You have to obtain the master's degree.
Is there a shortage right now of trainers to go around?
Absolutely. There is a nationwide shortage. I just read an article the other day, of all places where they're seeing a shortage is Connecticut. I would have never dreamed that Connecticut would have a shortage of certified licensed athletic trainers. West Virginia is not immune from that. West Virginia State University, for example, they had 3 certified athletic trainers on staff. One of the athletic trainers left. So what they did was, instead of them hiring, which my understanding is they're in the process of trying to hire a 3rd one, there's nobody here to apply for those jobs.
So no one's even applying.
No, and there's several reasons why they're not applying. The first one is because now they are probably making somewhere in the ballpark in West Virginia $28,000 to $32,000. Now, I want you to think about this, Carl. Somebody spent 4 years of undergraduate, up to 2 years in graduate school. That's potentially 6 years of student loans. Now, how long do you think it's going to take to pay off student loans making $28,000 to $32,000 a year? They'll be dead.
I was going to say, with all the other bills that will occur, homes, car, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that'd be a little bit of a challenge.
So why would you stay here when you can go to another place that pays more? So you can pay your student loans off. You can pay for your house, your insurance, your car, and all that stuff. I mean, it's athletic trainers, they've taken a back burner for so many years, but they just don't understand how important we are, because we have to be there for all of the practices. We have to be there for all of the games, the conditioning, the weights. People don't understand. The only time they ever talk about an athletic trainer
is when somebody's hurt.
Yeah, when we screw up something. That's the only time they ever talk about an athletic trainer. I tell people all the time, when I'm covering a sport, if I'm never seen or heard from, then I've had a good day.
All right. Well, let's talk about. I think the biggest issue right now is everybody's playing so much.
Yes.
So much football, so much basketball, so much baseball, so much softball. We talked about the young lady who was injured.
Yeah.
And then went to practice softball and ended up having a career-ending injury after already playing travel ball and school league.
Right.
Why is it, and where is it in your mind that all of a sudden sports got to be so big? Because I don't hear the term student athlete anymore.
Right.
That term is pretty much died to me. Now, you may go to school, but you're on a travel basketball team, a school basketball team, and now with this rule, with the passing of this, if this bill passes and allows you to play travel and school ball, what are we doing? Are we? How does that even exist? Because you got practice, and you got games,
weights,
conditioning,
film.
all of those all that kind of stuff. How do we fit that in? And then to your conversation about the long-term injuries, or the active injuries, like how do you endure? How does your body at the younger level, especially, how do those kids endure all of that running, hitting, falling, all of that kind of stuff? How is that possible?
They can't. Their body cannot withstand. And I tell my classes all the time, everyone that'll listen to me. For example, I'll relate this to someone that's doing resistance training. So most people come from the standpoint you're talking about. It's all about quantity, more and more and more.
Yes.
It's not about quantity, it's about quality. And you can probably relate to this one is NCAA, for example. They may give football 4 hours to practice. Mm-hmm. So my question always was, if you have a well laid out coaching plan, if you can accomplish everything in 2 hours versus stretching out to 4 hours, does that not give them 2 extra hours to rest?
I would agree with that. Yes.
I never did understand that. If you have a well laid out plan,
I think, and in defense of a coach, I think their idea is, I want to get the most out of it.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Well, I'm going to play devil's advocate. Now, if you add those 2 hours up to 4 hours per day, now all of a sudden you get someone with an overuse injury, shin splints, patellar tendonitis, shoulder impingement. They're not going to be able to play anyway.
Yeah.
So you didn't gain anything. If you would have gave them the 2 hours off so their body could rest, they may not have shoulder impingement. They may not have shin splints or patellar tendonitis. People don't understand the body is like a car. We are just so greedy that we don't listen to it. We ignore it. And then we get to the point to where we can't function anymore. So they have to come to the athletic trainer.
And moms and dads, okay? And I know this to be true. I know this being part of South Charleston's youth sports programs. I see this happen all the time. I see it happen all the time. And a kid gets hurt, and we pick him up and say, "Oh, you're okay." We haven't checked.
Right.
We don't even know what really what's hurting.
Right.
We just say, "You're okay."
Yes.
Everything about that is wrong.
Who is the qualified healthcare provider that's asking them if they're okay?
Exactly. And you see the hit, and you make the assumption that the kid's okay. He's crying. He's laying there. I mean, I see it in basketball all the time. All-star basketball's been going on, and and the good news is I don't think any of those kids actually were hurt, but kids, they run into each other. They lay down. One of the kids are laying down on the ground. He's holding his leg. He's holding his arm. He's holding his foot. He's doing anything. But he's bawling, crying.
Yes.
And we automatically are yelling from the bleachers saying, "Johnny, get up.
Yeah.
Johnny, get up."
Yep.
And we as a team or coach, we pick him up, set him on the bench. 2 plays, he's right back in.
And you don't know whether there's anything wrong with him or not.
And no one has medically checked him at all.
Right.
And ladies and gentlemen, I bring that up only because I know that's the reality of it. But at some point, I think we have to step back, And again, we've had 3 weeks. We had the last 3 weeks of All-Stars. We had fights all 3 weeks. Somewhere between a Thursday or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, someone was in a fight. Parents with officials, parents with parents, coaches, and we're that intense about the game itself. And our kids' injuries, we can shake that off.
Yep.
That makes no sense to me.
Me either.
We ought to be able to we ought to be able to shake off. If you're sitting beside me and you're yelling for the other team, I ought to be able to shake you off
right before
I shake my kid off.
Yep.
And I just and I don't know where we're going when we're freeing up the opportunity for a kid to be hurt and continuously play, but we can't hear someone else say something beside us.
Yeah. It's called win at all cost. That's been the mentality for hundreds and hundreds of years. It's win at all cost. And people don't understand the long-term effects. These overuse injuries, shin splints, patellar tendonitis, impingement. When you hear those types of injuries.
But here's the interesting thing, though. We don't hear them at the youth sports level. We don't hear, and I don't think you hear that in the middle schools either, because in most of these cases, there isn't that trainer there
right.
to say, I think he or she may have this. We might want to keep them out.
Right.
We're thinking, we can get them right back in. Let them get some water, and we can get them right back in. I don't know. It's clear that we need to fix it. I don't even know, though, at this point, how do we fix it?
Well, one of the big problems is, and again, I'm not picking on our state, West Virginia, but as I told you in the last segment, on the law, the only sport that has to be covered in the state of West Virginia is varsity football. Why is it only varsity football? I understand it's a contact collision sport, but as I said in the last segment, that women's soccer is number 2 behind football in sustaining concussions. How come that's not on the law that a certified athletic trainer has to cover women's soccer? That's a head injury. Because the law says this is all they have to do is cover football.
Well, all right, so I'm trying to figure out, me, myself, like I've not forgot CTE. Yep. I've not forgotten what that does, because, for me to remember something, like, man, I can forget something in a second. But we're acting like this isn't something that can happen to kids. Like, this is something, if by chance this rule passes and states that you can play multiple sports, the same sport, and that becomes something that someone does, and this is my argument with travel football. And I get it that you sometimes the play clock keeps going, it's continuous, but the contact that's happening in the head area,
repetitive blows.
Yes, there's no justification for or reality that now is worse on a kid, on a child who's less developed.
Yeah, they're not matured.
They're not matured. That brain's moving.
Yes.
Much easier.
Yeah, sloshing around that skull.
And listen, I'm talking as though I'm medical. I don't know. All I know is how it works. I know how what the cause is, and I'm just saying, gosh, I'm playing in the league. I get knocked out, and I know, looking back, I know that had something to do. That had something to do with me not being able to remember a lot of stuff.
Absolutely.
So now we're doing this at a youth level with travel football. And are we going to now say, okay, now you can play school football too? Like, what is that? What are we doing?
Yep, that's just add more repetitive blows to the head, which increases your chances of, down the road, developing CTE.
Football has always been, hear me, football has always been one game a week. Not by accident.
Right.
Everything else you could do as many times as you want during the week. But football has always been one game a week. They changed the rules in practice for the same reason that you play one game.
That's right.
And now what we've done is we've created more games, or we're attempting to create more games. For what?
because, as we talked in the last segment, they're trying to get on film more often, especially if they don't pass the eye test. They have to be seen, whether it's in travel or whether it's in their high school. They're trying to be seen, and the parents wants every one of their kids to go to the D1. They want them to go pro.
I hate to say this because no, I don't really hate to say it. I'm telling myself a lot. I'm going to say this because I think there are people out there who fit this. There isn't anybody who's going to get you to D1.
Right.
There's nobody going to get you to Sunday. You have to get yourself there. Now, can somebody help you train you to get there? They can train you to get in shape. You have to have something else in you to get there and to sustain themselves there. And here's the crazy thing about it is, and I'm not saying that you have to be able to have done it to be able to get somebody else there, but if you haven't gotten there, you can't really say what they need to do.
Right.
Like if you ain't been to D1 football, I don't know if you know how to get someone to D1 football. Because where do you measure it from? How do you measure that? And the push that you're going to make on them, that's where those risks come in. That I'm not, he's got a shoulder injury, but come on, we can go ahead and get something in.
Right.
We're willing to do that for the sake of the possibility of being able to say you got someone's kid to
the next level.
To the next level.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't fall for that. You trust me. Your kid can train. You can train your kid. You can. Training is is not as complicated as you think it may be. It just isn't. And I know there's all kinds of new drills and there's all this fancy stuff is out there, and it's great. But if you got the metrics, if you fit the metrics, if you're 16 and you're 6 foot, dad's 6'5", you're starting to fit the metrics. I don't care whoever's working with you, whether it's basketball or football, you got a shot.
Right.
Somebody's thinking about, they're looking at you. And here's the other thing. Let's quit acting as though kids are getting looked at middle school and all of that. Okay? Because let's be for real. The kid that's going to get looked at middle school is probably going to be somebody who's going to look like Robert Alexander in right. Old junior high.
Yep.
It ain't going to be me. They wasn't coming looking at me at no junior high. Wasn't even on nobody's radar. So don't get it twisted. There's nobody there. This is the most innocent time of sports that you could have. It's more intense than youth football, less intense than high school, but it's that last place where you can get to have fun and work hard and decide whether or not this is going to be what you want to do.
Absolutely.
And if you're injured, if you have a host of injuries through that time, as a parent, I'm asking my child, does he want to play? Do you want to play high school?
Well, a lot of it leads to burnout, and they don't want to play it anymore.
Absolutely.
That's been, if you're playing 7 days a week of the same thing for years and years, at some point you're going to burn out and say, this is not fun
anymore. How do you not? I don't like. Yeah. I really, really don't understand how you can't get burnt out on. Especially if you're working with a trainer.
Yeah.
So you got every free moment you're with the trainer. Every other moment that you got, you're with travel ball, school work. Where is your time to be a kid?
There is none.
For the sake of football or for the sake of a sport, that may just be through middle school, maybe just through high school.
Right.
And again, student athlete, what happened to it?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with this new NIL. Or NIL,
Well,
because, now,
valid point.
I mean, I think that's a big when you said, you're kind of why we call them student athletes anymore. I think that's part of the reason why that we're getting away from student athlete. And really, aren't these now professional athletes?
Yeah, valid point.
You know?
And I wish I'd have hit on that one, because you're exactly right. Because now I can make not me, but my child can make some money in college that's beneficial to us as a family.
Yeah. Well, I saw one article that said that one of the football teams, a local car dealership, gave every person on the team a brand new pickup truck to drive. You know how many trucks that has to be for a whole football team in D1?
It's a bunch of kids.
And it's a bunch of trucks.
Yes. Yes.
So, I think that's where we're getting away from now, the student athlete. It's more of, is this really student athlete, or is this just, right below being a professional athlete? I mean, it's similar in fashion.
It's right there.
Yeah.
It's right there. And even if you don't make it to the pros, you got a truck.
Right.
You got a truck out of being on a football team.
Right. And if you do commercials and things, it's not like somebody's going to come back and take your money that they paid you to do a commercial. You still have the money now. Obviously, if you're frivolous with it, you spend it. But, you still have a truck. You still have a checking account. You still have a savings account because you got paid to do that commercial.
And I'm not hating on that idea of college players being paid. I don't think that you are hating on it.
No, I'm not.
I think the issue is what is it creating? The high school kids are dying to get to college, to hopefully to get that money.
Dollars and cents.
Dollars and cents.
Dollars and cents.
Yes. The more talented as a player,
yes,
the more money I'm going to get.
Yeah, and especially if you go to the highest ones that are in D1.
Yes.
I mean, look at the same teams that are pretty much in the 14 playoff every year. I'm pretty sure that's where I'm going to go, because that's where the money's at.
Yes. Yeah. You're not at all worried about academics.
No.
What do they have my major?
They don't care about that anymore.
They don't care about that anymore. And so to the reality of trying to be about, or to be a student athlete,
yep.
I think we've lost that, especially into the college realm. Yep. That's happening. And I think on the youth level, the kids before middle school, I think we put too much on them to handle.
Yeah.
It's too serious for them, because we don't even know where they're going to take it.
Well, I'll even give you a point that actually you were talking about how there was 5 fights in 3 days. Mm-hmm. Well, I saw on Facebook several days that there was a middle school. They needed 3 coaches, I think baseball, softball, and track and field. Couldn't find anybody. They were going to have to cancel the season. And I walked up to someone, I said, do you know why they can't find a head coach for baseball, softball, and track and field? What you just described over the weekend, now would you want to be a coach and dealing with parents that are wanting to fight you? Do you want to be an official that where you may not even make it out of the building without
the officials hurt. There's shortage of officials at this point.
So why would you want to do it for the peanuts they pay and you can get hurt?
All right. I'm going to close here. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got to do better. We have some talented, smart, and talented kids here in the state of West Virginia. What we need to have happen is, let's let them be kids first. They'll grow into the sport. They'll grow into trying to decide whether or not they want to play a specific sport or if they want to be a doctor. Let's let them make that decision, because the yelling and screaming and the fighting that we're doing now is a waste of time if they don't even follow through.
Burnout.
You know, and again, that burnout thing, I spent my time training, more training than playing.
Yeah.
If you change that path to training more than playing, you'll do better. You'll have a better opportunity. I'm hoping by next week we don't have any issues, and I'll be struggling for a conversation to talk about. We won't have this these types of things to continuously talk about. But right now, they're everywhere, you know. And again, I know everybody saw the 7-on-7 thing. That was just crazy. But we're going to get out of here. I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back again soon. We're out.
The opinions expressed on this program do not necessarily reflect the opinions of WVRC Media, its management, employees, or sponsors. Follow us on Facebook at Let's Talk Carl Lee. Visit WCHSnetwork.com/Let's Talk for more.